What's up, Madden Men of the People? ZFArls back here in the home studio, back with the mug on the camera for Team of the Week 17. Let's waste no time and jump in. So it's the final Team of the Week 17 for the regular season, and they dropped a special Team of the Week, 2 career tribute players, Steve Smith on offense, Robert Mathis on defense. We're going to break those guys down. And then they still gave us an offensive hero and a defensive hero. Obviously, Dominique Rodgers-Crowe, Marty. They didn't give it to DRC. I thought he deserved it. Let me know in the comments if they missed somebody that you thought deserved a Team of the Week. I would have loved to see my man DRC pick up one more, as he already has a really good item. But let's jump in. Markus Golden, this guy in regular Madden, the head-to-head version is very low rated, but he plays extremely well for the role that you put him in. So while he's not tremendous, really, I still think you can get some value out of this guy if you're looking for super budget. He can rush the passer a little bit with 88 power move. He's got 87 hit power. His speed doesn't seem to be as quick, but he does have pretty good acceleration. Not an item I'd pick up, but just letting you know if you're looking for super budget. We also have our list of 2017 budget items coming out. Look for a video this week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for some looks at that. Now, next up, Adam Humphries. I'm going to pass on the Adam Humphries, but I like this 91 catch in traffic, but I think there's a better guy this week. Obviously, if you needed a budget catch in traffic receiver, you could go to the Adam Humphries. He's pretty decent. Rex Burkhead, I believe, is a pass. He's a Nebraska guy, but he only has 86 speed, and he's, he does have good agility and acceleration, which I like, but that's just bottom end speed at this year. He's got to be 88 minimum to kind of go there. Plus, he's not at 90 elusive. Bethel. So this is a question for you guys. For draft champs, I would like to see Bethel, these type of ratings, kind of be where your backups, not like your real backups, but if you don't draft a corner, your slot corner should be what Bethel is. I think this guy's balanced. I bet he's inexpensive. I think he could fill out a lot of teams. Is he as good as one of the guys on my budget sheet from the Browns? Let's take a look at his name. Is this guy as good as, say, Jamar Taylor? No. But can he get the job done for you? Yes, I believe, he's going to hold up in most situations. I like what he brings to the table. I'd like to see the ratings get up where it's not low 70s, it's low 80s, and you're kind of getting some of these guys mixed in and not having to draft them. They're just kind of filled in. Jordan Hicks is our first elite of the Team of the Weeks, and I love this Jordan Hicks. I've been real tough on middle linebackers so far this season because there's been quite a few of them. But for $15K, you're going to get a guy with 87 speed, which is right up there. Shazier's the cap at 90, but most of the guys are right at 87, possibly 88. Deion Buchanan's very expensive. I didn't realize he was quite that expensive. And because he recently had a Football Outsiders, he bumped himself up to 85. So now he's getting an 88 with 90 acceleration. He's getting 81 zone coverage. His play rec's at 88, so you can get him to 90. You know how with Tom Bali, motivator. He's got fine strength, fine block shed. He's not going to be a world guy in the run game, but he's going to be well enough to get in position, play some zone coverage, be fast enough. This guy can do a little bit of everything, and for $15K, I really like what Hicks brings to the table. So shout out for that item right there. Rashard Matthews also picks up an 88 receiver. I don't believe he's had many items so far this season, but if we actually look in, he scored a lot of touchdowns for me in fantasy. 88 speed, 15K, 90 spec catch, 92 catch in traffic. 92 catch in traffic stock. Right now, catch in traffic is getting boosted. Spec catch is getting boosted by other chemistries or by motivators. So the fact that he's got 92 is pretty nice at the start. 89 route running is close to 92. I don't think you can quite get it there. He's got the deep threat chemistry, which I would pass on. I would go route runner. So he's right about where he should be for the price for $15K. Is there a few other receivers that I think you could grab instead? Yes, I think you could grab, depending on the role that you want these guys to play, you could look in and find some guys. But not a bad little item for Rashard Mathis. A lot of the receivers I would recommend are actually team heroes, and you can't get him anymore. So he kind of feels like he's right around where that Jordan Matthews is, and you can't get that Jordan Matthews anymore. Zach Ertz gets a tight end item. Now, the first thing that stands out in this Ertz item to me is the 86 run block. So, that's right up there with some of the highest in the game. Obviously, Gronk's a good run blocker. But you can get the Dunlap, who's out of position, for like $15K, or maybe it's like $9K. It's even less. So I don't think you would want Ertz for that role, even though he's obviously a much better receiver. He still only has 82 speed, and his route running's pretty low, but he's got okay catching traffic, but he's more of a spec guy. So, I think I'm going to pass on the Ertz. I just think if you're going to want a true run block guy, you could do a little bit better for less of a cost. I don't think he fits any true role. He's not a route runner. He's not a seam. He's a bit of a seam spec guy, but he's not quite fast enough to split the seam against cover two like a Ladarius Green. Yes, he can spec for you a little bit. Maybe in that exact role he would be good, but his price has to come way down because you could find other guys to do what he does. Now, Keith Tandy is a strong safety who I've been eyeing for a long time. He got a Football Outsiders earlier in the season. We're actually going to look at that right now and see what it was, because it was one of the good options if you needed a budget strong safety. It was 88 speed, 88 zone, and 86 play rec. So that's a little bit low. But now he's up to 88 with this version. Tom Bahali gets him to 90 with Motivator. 90 speed, 92 agility, which 93 accel. That means he's going to play way faster than his ratings. This is like what a Malcolm Jenkins was last week, basically. Right up there. This is almost hero level in my opinion. 89 zone. They don't dog him with 82 man. Now, his hit power is a bit low for a strong safety, but if you need a more of a coverage guy, he even has 86 press. So he can play in cover zero a little bit. Not that, if you don't have money for the Kraus. And we'll see where he settles. If this guy gets down to 25K, I mean, his previous version's now already inexpensive and going to be one of the best values in the game. But now you got this version potentially dropping down to 30K or so. I think he's a guy you grab for sure, and you figure out a way to get him involved. Now, Jarrell Casey is another budget stud. 92 strength, 93 block shed with 95 power move and 85 finesse move. So 95 power move is one of the best rush moves in the game. And at right end, but you're going to play this guy at D tackle basically. Even at D tackle, the best finesse move in the game is like John Randall's the only guy above 90. And that's his second move. So this Casey move to D tackle is going to be ferocious. Now you got to compare him to the Leonard Williams, the Leonard William Freeze. That's going to be where you're going to see probably the best comparison. Also J.J. Watt, depending on where his cost ends up. But I love that he has the 90 play rec. He sniffs out screens. He's always played well. He's got this flashback here. And, his speed's slightly low, but even with 82 excel, he'll get where he needs to be. And I'm thinking that this Casey moved inside next to Brandon Williams is going to be one of the best options in the game. Obviously, Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh are, right up there with this guy. And also, Howie Long, who I played the other day, is a beast. But, think of this guy as a run stuff right end. The problem is he's not in the meta because you can't cross-man him. So, if you want to play that defense where you're manning him up on a guy, this isn't the guy to do that. This is more of a 4-4 run stuff style option where you need a guy who's faster if you want to man him up and have him actually get out and cover. Speaking of speed, Julian Edelman, always an ultimate team item where I'm always like, man, if he was just a little bit faster. But here they've got him up to 89 speed with a 93 agility. Shout out to Michael Floyd for the block that sprung Edelman and got him this team of the week. 93 agility. His route running's at 94. So if you look at 94 route running and he has the route running chemistry, he's going to get up above 96. And so since he has 89 speed and he's going to get up to that 96 route running where the routes start to actually change. You've seen it with Antonio Brown. We've showed you guys that on This Week in Madden before. We'll continue to go over that as more items cross over that. But that's some of the best in the game. Plus, the 91 catching traffic goes along with it. Now, he's not going to spec. He's not really going to release. I think 89 speed is serviceable. It's serviceable. He's not going to outrun an 87 speed Zach Brown manned up against him, maybe. So that's maybe the one concern if your slots are getting manned up is Julian Edelman. Is he going to toast him on the route run? It depends on the route you run. Are you going to run a corner and he's going to actually cut against somebody who's manned up against him? Well, then he's going to win. Nobody's going to really beat him. But is he going to run a drag and you're going to sacrifice the route running, and then all of a sudden this guy who's manned up against him is going to just follow him and he can't outrun Deion Buchanan, Eric Reed, 88 speed? That's the thing with Edelman that you got to consider what kind of offense you have. 123 for this isn't too bad. If he gets down to 100K, compare him to the Antonio Brown, you're getting a lot of value out of this. And then they went with the legend options. Not legends in the true sense that they're not retired, but they're retired now, and they are the career tributes. So we had a career tribute Andre Johnson earlier in the season, and if you look at that Andre Johnson, you notice, he is a really good player here, very strong, but his price sits at $380, so you can never really pick up that Andre Johnson. But with the Robert Mathis, they gave him the jump snap. Notice he's a right outside linebacker. He has 90 block shed, which Mathis always had great acceleration. And then he had, they always give him really good spin move, him and Dwight Freeney. It's hilarious. 78 spin move, see? And then, but they would kind of hurt him on block shed, and they'd kind of hurt him on strength, right? Colts can't stop the run game, blah, 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 blah. But he would always have great finesse moves. So now he's at 94 finesse, 85 power move, which is what we just saw in the Jarrell Casey, who's an end. Obviously, 89 acceleration isn't as big this season because, you can't get through gaps in the same way. But for the edge with the jump snap, now my thing with the Mathis, right? You're not going to use him because you're not going to use a Robert Mathis because you're not going to use a rushing end. You're going to let him rush on his own. So you don't really need the jump snap. So you don't want to pay for the jump snap because he's going for 350. You're going to let him rush on his own because he has great play rec. You're not going to drop him into coverage. You are going to let him rush. He will hold up in the ground game, which is good, but he's not going to... he'll make some plays with 90 block shed. That's pretty decent. But are you really going to, man this guy up and play the meta with 85 speed when you can get a guy who's got 87 that's going to cost you less? That's kind of the question that I have. Now, as a pure pass rusher, this is one of the best guys, but I think you're paying extra to get the jump snap. And I just don't know if that value is going to be there because these career tributes, like we just showed with Andre Johnson, stay pretty pricey. So we've got to see where he settles. I love the item. Big fan of Robert Mathis. Now, he doesn't have... he's got the spin move, which is very good with 94 finesse. And but he doesn't strip the ball, I don't believe. So I don't know how big that is. He doesn't have big hitter. So we got to see if he forces fumbles because... right now we're blitzing guys like Night Train, we're blitzing guys like Jalen Ramsey, and they're forcing fumbles off the edge. And that's a big part of blitzing. You get a lot of value that way. So you need a guy who's going to get home that's going to force fumbles. Steve Smith is the last guy here. Now notice the playmaker right on him. He's got 91 speed. I was nervous. And same thing with Mathis. He's always had good play rec and good moves. But in his later years, they slowed him down. He was always one of the fastest guys. And in Madden, you could always just kind of take a guy, run him, or put him in a gap. And then not only did they, have they limited that in Madden, but they've also slowed down older players because over time, guys get slower. Most players that come into the league are faster than they are at the end of their career. It's just kind of natural degradation of their skills. And that's been reflected, right? So I was nervous about Steve Smith because if we look at where Steve Smith came in this season, his 84 had 83 speed. And then he builds off of that to 85 speed to 88 speed as he jumps from 5 points in OVR. So that's a nice job by them to catch that and hook him up with a +3 overall to 94 and 91 speed. That's faster than the Edelman. His 94 catch and traffic standard is, the highest in the game standard. Plus, you're going to potentially get a boost to it between Using other receivers, motivators in your lineup. Maybe SC gives you that. Slot expert. I want to see his route running get to 92 with the chemistry. I got to look into that. His agility and acceleration aren't faster than his speed, like Edelman. They're kind of flipped, but he's going to hang on to passes. And I've noticed that with Harrison, Rice, even Tim Brown, guys with high catch and traffic, and the Sharp, they seem to really hang on the ball across the middle, and that's pretty important. It's come up big for me a couple times. Not usually a rating I look into. I feel like most players will drop balls in traffic, but there's a few guys that are starting to hang on to him, and it looks like Steve Smith is going to be one. I'm looking at his run block at 68, which is pretty high for a guy. It's no Alshon Jeffrey out there, but it's pretty decent and a worthy item for Steve Smith. For 400K, I have to pass at the moment, but I do like that he has playmaker, and I'd rather go after the Rice probably, just because I think it's close. It's really close. I know many people don't have room on their squad for too many playmaker receivers because they're pricey, so I think you probably have the Cooks as your playmaker to Kelvin Benjamin as your big guy, and then you kind of need one other option, and I think instead of catching traffic, unless you throw over the middle, you're going to aim for route running, and that's where that Edelman might be just better, slightly better value because they're a little bit flipped. So that all depends on how you set up your offense and your receivers and everything like that, but let me know in the comments if you're going to go after these legend guys and who they might have missed. I'm thinking DRC, hopefully Football Outsiders DRC, because he had a great game. I'm a big fan. Hopefully the Giants can take down the Packers. We'll get more into that. Stream's going to boot up right now, secret stream on Mondays. I want to make sure I got this Team of the Week out, though. And if you have any other questions, let me know. We're back, and we'll talk soon. Look out for that 2007 Budget Sleepers. And until next time, guys, this is ZFArls. Lock up.